Nhexus, level 16 upgrade. Now that Nhexus has gone brushless, I do need to upgrade the gears. So here I have a 76 tooth spur that was donated to me by A-Town Clown 23, also known as Kevin Major. I also had this 23 tooth pinion gear just laying around. So I'm going to be installing these, that way I can get a lot more speed out of Nhexus. In order for me to change these gears out, I do have to take off the transmission box cover, and it's held in with 2 screws. This lower screw is blocked by the rear right tire. Now usually I would have to take that off in order to get to that screw. However, I have these new tools that have a ball point. So now I can take it off at an angle. Just like that. Okay, now that that screws off, I can take off the cover. The first thing I'm going to do is loosen these 2 screws so I can move the motor that's pulling the pinion gear away from the spur gear. Now I'm going to take off the pinion gear by undoing this grub screw. Alright, old pinion gear is out of the way. Now I'm going to undo these 3 screws that hold on the spur gear. Alright, now that those screws are out of the way, I'm going to get a flathead screwdriver and gently rotate and pry off the old spur gear. Now this one is 86 teeth. The one I'm putting on there is 76, so yeah, 10 teeth less. That's definitely going to increase my top speed. Line up the holes, push it down, and replace the 3 screws. And the spur gear is done with. Now it's time to go ahead and put on the pinion gear. As you can see, there's a flat edge on the shaft that comes out of the motor. The grub screw screws into that. So now all I have to do is make sure that it's perfectly parallel to the spur gear and tighten that grub screw down. Now that that is tight, it's also a good idea to use some thread locker on that grub screw. Now I just got to push the pinion gear next to the spur gear, and it has to have the proper spacing. Now Traxxas suggests you put them as close as you possibly can together and then run a piece of paper through it. I just do it by eye. And once those are perfectly lined up, then you can go ahead and tighten these 2 screws down all the way. Now I can go ahead and put on the cover and replace the 2 screws. Remember that the shorter screw goes on bottom. And that's it. I now have new gearing for Nhexus. Last but not least, I want to go ahead and thank you again, Kevin Major, for donating that spur gear. And that was the level 16 upgrade for Nhexus.